Hey guys, welcome to Digit.in, and what we have for you today is our review of the Sennheiser Ambeo Soundbar. Now this soundbar from Sennheiser is priced at a whopping 2 lakh rupees and it boasts of Dolby Atmos sound support and 13 drivers within the soundbar to ensure you get that immersive experience. But is it worth the asking price? Well, we're about to find out. Now, let's quickly run you through the setup process. Now, for the setup process, you need to have a mic which connects to the front of the soundbar. This does come in the box along with the Sennheiser soundbar. So you get the mic, you get the soundbar, you get a power cord, an HDMI cable, and of course this remote control that we're going to get to in a bit, along with the manuals in the box when you buy the soundbar. There is no subwoofer. So if you can see that one in the corner, that's my soundbar subwoofer, just lying there for now. It's not connected to anything. The soundbar can connect with a subwoofer. It does have a port at the back, but it does not come with a subwoofer. It has internal drivers itself which deliver the low end. So let's quickly start off with the build and design before we get into the performance, because the performance is something you'll want to stick around for. Now, premium build is the first thing that comes to mind when you even just touch the soundbar or look at it. It's really heavy. If you're planning to set it up on your own, you aren't going to be able to do it. You will need a friend to help you prop it up, and I highly recommend you put it on a table like this, because if your TV is not wall mounted, it's going to hide a considerable amount of the TV behind the soundbar. So you may want to ensure that there is adequate distance. For me, I had to actually empty out this entire shelf. For those of you that have seen our Amazon Fire TV Cube review will remember that there's a lot of stuff that's kept on this table out here which is now all gone missing just to accommodate this humongous soundbar. Now, I have used this room where the soundbar is as an entertainment room, which means there is just about enough furniture for me to sit and enjoy watching TV on it, and it was kind of the ideal place to set up the soundbar. You have a mic that comes with the soundbar, and once you connect it, you can use the Sennheiser app or the Ambeo button out here to calibrate your room once you've plugged in the soundbar, and that essentially ensures that when the soundbar is trying to mimic the surround sound experience, it comes to you. Setting up the soundbar is really as easy as reading the manual and following the on-screen instructions on the app. But let's get into the most important thing about the soundbar, which is the performance. Now, before we delve into the performance, let me tell you that it has a lot of drivers. Like I said in the beginning, it has 13 drivers, and there are 6 4-inch woofers. There are 2 3.5-inch up-firing woofers and 5 1-inch tweeters on the speaker to ensure you get that surround sound experience. And of course, the side-firing woofers, as you can see, are on the side, and the up-firing ones are up here inside this honeycomb type of a grill out here, and you have this really premium finish out here. You also have a display which not only shows you the source but also shows you whether the surround sound is on or off. That's also indicated by the Ambeo logo out there in the corner. Now, the one thing I did not expect when I started reviewing the soundbar was the fact that I would get an immersive experience. Let's face it, there are no speakers at the back, so you aren't really going to get that gunshots from behind you. But the fact that I could get a pretty immersive 180-degree experience all in front of me was really, really good. Now, I have curtains in the window on one side of the room out here, and there is a door in the wall on the other side, and of course there is the fan on the ceiling. So there are elements for the sound to bounce off, not necessarily in the right way. But having said that, the way the soundbar calibrated itself, I did calibrate it multiple times to slightly different seating positions until I found the sweet spot. So let's get into some content. Now, of course, we can't let you listen to some of the content that we were listening to for copyright reasons, because then this video will get a copyright claim. So we are going to show you some copyright free content for you to listen to that's coming from the soundbar, but for the rest of it, you're going to have to trust my judgment.
Endanger New Yorkers with their highly unstable energy source, neutral. Welcome, Councilman.
Thanks for having me, Mr. Jameson. I have to say, I was surprised when you reached out to my office.
Our producer, Jared, was insistent we have you. Something about needing to broaden our demographics, especially after your recent appearance on another, much less popular show.
Oh yeah, Getting to Heart was wonderful.
My listeners would like to know, how do you plan to bring prosperity to it? I think I speak for everyone when I say it's an area that has struggled for quite some time.
Now, we have Ready Player One, which is in Dolby Vision and Dolby Atmos. We played this on an Apple TV 4K connected to the soundbar with an HDMI 2.1 cable, and we've purchased this movie on Apple TV. And there's this race at the 11-minute mark where you have all these cars rushing all around you, and trust me when I tell you, the shift from left to right and even up to a certain degree in height was all felt. Yes, I did not feel the cars coming from behind me, and I think it's a little too much to expect that because it has to bounce off two different walls to come from behind you. But the front view of 180 degrees, like a traditional 5.1 setup, was absolutely clearly visible from cars and the bikes swishing left to right, with King Kong coming and destroying most of the cars on the racetracks, along with, of course, the jumping and the explosions. Let's hope we can show you some visuals of that. No, actually, we can't show you visuals as well for copyright reasons. So that's in Dolby Atmos. We also have this Dolby Atmos demo disc that we use, which has, you know, the leaf falling, which you experienced in a theater whenever you went to a theater last in a Dolby Atmos theater, or the rain from above. I do have a Dolby Atmos demo disc which gives me these experiences. And while I did not feel the rain coming right from above me, like I said, it is coming right there from up front, which does give you a part of that height experience, which is actually really very good. Moving away from native Dolby Atmos content, we have a lot of 5.1 content from streaming services. Now, we have seen content like, let's say, Mission Impossible, which is in 5.1, and when Tom Cruise is whizzing on his bike from left to right in Rogue Nation, you can feel that channel separation really well. Same for Spider-Man Homecoming. In fact, Spider-Man Far From Home is actually a better example where Mysterio is kind of, you know, tricking Spider-Man before he gets hit by the train in this really fantastic experience, and you do get a really good experience from all four sides. That's the two sides on your left and right, and a bit from up and in front of you. So these four sides are actually giving you quite an immersive experience. Now, that is about the channel separation for the sound. Moving on to how the sound actually sounds like. The sound quality from the speakers, another thing which is actually very good, and it's one of the best we've heard. So when there are vocals, let's say if you're watching television shows like Friends or Young Sheldon, you are going to have an enjoyable experience because the vocals are clean, crisp and clear. Even watching everyday stuff like news and maybe some documentaries was also a treat on the soundbar, but it's with the movies and the mixed audio that it really gives you the punch. From all the content that we've told you, there was not one point where we felt any form of lacking, be it in the bass or the thuds or the explosions or the vocals or the background scores. Everything is very clear, and this soundbar also has a night mode to limit the dynamic range so that you can actually enjoy a movie without having to control the volume when an explosion happens. So that is another very good thing. But when you keep the night mode off, the dynamic range is good enough that when an explosion happens, you feel the punch, and when the conversation happens, the audio of the vocals of the voices of the people are audible very clearly. So that comes up with the sound output of this soundbar, which is also, like I said, very good. The build is very nice and premiumly finished. You have manual controls up top, which is something as simple as selecting the source, Bluetooth pairing, the Ambeo mode on and off, and like you can see right now, I've left it on HDMI 2, and that's because this soundbar comes with a number of connectivity options. It has 3 HDMI inputs, which are 2.0A, and it has an HDMI 2.1 output with eARC enabled. Now, this is an LG B9 OLED TV. It does support eARC, so I have connected all the inputs to the TV and just one to the ARC port of the soundbar. But if I was falling short of ports on the TV, there are 3 more ports behind the soundbar that I can exploit, and I have connected the Fire TV Cube, the Apple TV 4K, and other devices to the back of this soundbar to enjoy content when I didn't want to go back to changing cables behind the TV. It also has an optical port. It has an extra subwoofer port that we're going to come to in a second. It also has Bluetooth, and it supports Chromecast. So like I said, there is a subwoofer out, and the only place that you will need that is maybe when you're listening to music. Now, if you're someone that enjoys music that has a lot of bass, then that is the first thing that you're going to miss on this soundbar. Like a song like Over and Over by Hot Chip really has this thumpy bass to the tune, and that thumpy bass was really lacking. Something that I could feel with my own My personal soundbars, subwoofer is right there. That's a Yamaha YS209. It has a pretty good subwoofer with the soundbar. So you are going to miss those thumps that come with some music. So in the genre of music, the soundbar isn't the best out there, but it can definitely compete with the best out there, because like I said, instruments were clear. I mean, when we were hearing some music which had a lead guitarist playing an acoustic guitar, you can literally hear the fingers plucking the strings on the guitar, and that is something we hadn't heard on other devices. So this soundbar is no small feat when it comes to its performance, but yes, when it comes to music, the bass was a little lacking. Another thing that's lacking is with the app. Now the app is connected to the soundbar via Bluetooth, and you cannot connect the soundbar to the Wi-Fi using the app. You have to use the Google Home app, which kind of feels like a bit of a mismatch. You should just simply be able to connect the Wi-Fi of the soundbar using the app. That's how we've seen it on other devices. So this was a bit of a diversion. It also, the fact that the app connects via Bluetooth and not Wi-Fi meant that there were many times when we had connection issues. There were many times when we opened the app and we had to keep hitting the refresh button to get it to connect to the soundbar, and at this price point that experience just felt a little bit of a lackluster. So overall, moving over to the remote now, actually this is another surprisingly good thing. So the remote control has this tapering kind of a design. It's a little thicker up top and it's a little thinner at the bottom out here. And surprisingly, even though it's plastic, it is very premium in its feel. The remote control is also very basic. You've got power, you've got switching on the Ambeo surround sound, mute, volume control, source, and a different bunch of music presets. And if you have the app, you really don't need the remote control, because you can power on and off the soundbar using the remote control, using the app as well. So you can just, use the remote control for the first time setup if needed, and then simply move on to using the app. Or if you are using HDMI ARC, then via CEC, you can mostly control the features like volume with your television's remote control. But I'm really surprised that the remote control feels as premium and heavy as it does. So overall, should you consider buying the Sennheiser Ambeo? And the answer to that question is a little more difficult than a simple yes or no, but let's try and simplify that for you at the beginning. If you are looking for a soundbar that sounds absolutely brilliant for watching movies, it's very, very good for listening to music, and is also a great soundbar for gaming. We did hook up the PS5 to the TV and play a lot of games using the soundbar, and I can tell you that Spider-Man Miles Morales with his swishes of the webs, or in Ghost of Tsushima when you go into ghost mode and this really loud sound plays in, just draws you into the immersion of this soundbar. It is definitely an experience worth having. But that does come at an asking price of 2 lakh rupees. So should you consider this soundbar? Well, if you have a budget of 2 lakh rupees and you want a no frills, no nonsense soundbar, you don't want to drill holes to hang satellite speakers, you don't have power supply at the back for wireless satellite speakers, you don't want to go about the whole construction of hanging speakers, drawing wires, if you are looking for a 5.1 setup, you just want one device to sit there under your television and give you a very, very immersive experience, be it in your living room or a slightly above average size bedroom, this soundbar can produce some really room filling sound. But then again, we have seen a lot of great soundbars at different price points. So let's go over some of the soundbars that we here at Digit have experienced and reviewed and really like. So for a hard price of 30,000 rupees, we've experienced the Yamaha YS209. While it isn't the loudest soundbar, it is one of the clearest at the 30,000 rupee price point. It's a soundbar I personally own, which is why you may not have seen that review on Digit, but it is a very good soundbar for both music, movies, and gaming. It does have a slight problem when it comes to vocals, simply because it's a 2-channel soundbar, but it's still a great option if you're on a tight budget. At 40,000 rupees, we have the Sony HT-ST5000, which is a 3.1 soundbar. We've also reviewed a Philips 3.1 soundbar at about the 30 to 40,000 rupee price point, which competes with the Sony, and both of them are really good. They claim Dolby Atmos, but you don't get the complete surround sound experience because it's a 3.1 soundbar. You do get a bit of dynamic range, but it cannot compete with the dynamic range that this produces in terms of the width and the height that it brings. So that's at about the 40,000 rupee price point. At the 70-80,000 rupee price point, we have again the Sony HT-Z9F, which comes with optional separate satellite speakers to give you a surround sound experience, and it also boasts of Dolby Atmos. And we've also seen another modular soundbar. Remember, the Sony HT-Z9F, you can just buy the soundbar and subwoofer first and invest in the rare satellite speakers later. At about the 70 to 80,000 rupees price point, you also have the Bose 700 that we reviewed, and that soundbar is also modular, which means you can add a subwoofer later and satellite rare speakers later. later. This for 2 lakh rupees is the complete package in one device. So you're just getting the soundbar, you plonk it here, and I'm pretty sure you can forget about it for years. The best part, it comes with the mic in the box, so you can literally, if you shift houses, if you shift furniture, if you feel the calibration is off for your new seating position, you can just plug in that mic and spend 10 minutes calibrating the soundbar to your sweet spot where you're going to sit and consume content. So while the soundbar is really pricey at 2 lakh rupees, the kind of sound quality it brings is something that you definitely must experience. So if you know a store near you that has this, if people start going back out to shops and malls and you can go somewhere and experience this soundbar, don't take my word for it, go and experience it. Carry content you watch regularly on a pen drive or a disc and definitely experience it, because you really have to experience the range this sound brings from in front of you and that kind of semi-height experience that it gives you for Dolby Atmos. That's something you definitely must experience, because when I put this up here, I calibrated it. I was expecting that, okay, you know, I might get a little bit of channel shift from the front, maybe a little from the right or here, but there were times, because on my left out here, the bounce from the wall to my seating position is so perfect that every time something had to swish by me, I could get that swish experience of a motorcycle coming or a bullet whizzing past me. But on my right out here, there is a glass wall with thick curtains to black out the room, and I want to watch movies, and because curtains are more sound absorbing materials, the bounce really didn't feel that great from the other side. Again, like I said, because the speaker has to bounce sound from different surfaces in the room, the experience from behind you felt a little lacking, but the fact that it could bounce it from the height and give me that experience of something flying above me right here was absolutely immersive. So there you have it, guys. That was our review of the Sennheiser Ambeo Soundbar. It's a great soundbar when it comes to sound. It's very convenient and easy to set up. You don't need to call someone to set it up. If there's any drawback, it's with the app, and maybe that's something that can be fixed in the future. But if you're someone that's looking for a soundbar to survive the next decade with absolute ease, and you don't need to look at an upgrade, and it's a simple plug and play solution, and you are in the premium market crossing $1.5 lakh, this one can definitely be on your consideration list. So there you have it, guys. That was our review of the Sennheiser Ambeo Soundbar. If you like this video, you could always leave us a like, leave us a comment, and I'll do my best to answer any queries you have. And for more from the world of technology, you can subscribe to the channel. We will catch you in another video. It's goodbye for now.